All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army episode 2.243. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start out with headlines where we will talk MLS own goals, US Players of the Year, and FIFA Club World Cup, plus some odds and ends. Weekly What If is related to college football and promotion and relegation. Premier League, we will talk about City, who ain't City in these days, break up the Toffees, and of course, Liverpool Arsenal preview. Big one coming up this weekend. Then round the world, Champions League knockouts and Girona, contenders or pretenders, and then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, Goas. Now it's time to bring in this week's beauties. We got most of the band back together, starting with Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, and it has been a while. So I think it's time to give us an update on what's hot or not in the world of online dating these days, Mr. Goulet.
Oh, not is saying that you like to go on adventures. That's really vague. And what you mean by an adventure probably means going to get food past midnight, and that's not really an adventure. If you want to go on an adventure, let's go find some shit under a bridge and eat it. Like, let's go on an adventure. What's hot right now is meat. I'm fucking cooking. No joke. I am cooking with gas right now. I'm not going to give you any stats, but we're hitting a hot patch.
I like it. I like it. Well done. You've stolen my thermonuclear gas from the overterrain, which is not cooking on that anymore. But I'm glad you're moving. You're moving, making moves.
Right.
Next up, the man who let's see. I got multiple DMs about this weekend from people predicting immediately after the Liverpool United game that there is no chance he was actually going to hop on the podcast this week. But here you are in all your glory. Mr. Tyler Tarrant still functioning at, let's say, I don't know, 70% after we kept him up way past his bedtime taping last week's episode, which he's still unhappy about. Your question this week is related to the Israel-Palestine situation. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You are our UN correspondent official, but no, we're not talking about that. Your question is, what do you miss the least about online or offline dating these days as a happily spoken for a man?
Um, oh, that's a tough one. I really don't miss having to pay for somebody else's drinks all the time, and especially like women who like had good paying jobs and would just like look at me when the check comes or like, and we're just kind of like this awkward silence and I'm like, why am I being viewed as the only person who's potentially going to pay for this date? As the great 50 Cent said, whoever's idea was to go on the date should pay for it. And like I'm getting asked out on dates here and there. Like I used to hit hot streaks just like Mitch. And if you ask me out on a date and I'm going out of my way and I'm coming all the way down to West Loop and from Lincoln Park in Chicago, maybe you should pick up the tab for two drinks. I don't know. Maybe that could be it. So I don't miss that. I don't miss
Okay,
it.
that's a good answer. That's a good answer. I'm sure you do miss the hot streaks though. But what are you gonna do?
I've got built. It's a relationship. Every day's a hot streak.
Okay, all right. See how long that lasts. Next up, finally, we finally we got a guy who has been podcasting off, but mostly on with me for basically half a decade now, if people actually think about it. Kind of crazy. Mr. Mikey Fowler, and your question is the one I've been dying to ask all day, ever since I became aware of certain knowledge. What was it like holding a Sam's Army meetup on Saturday night and not even telling Sam about it?
Well, it's not my fault that New York City is a popular destination. That is an aggregator of sorts that I have to my advantage. You were the original meetup. I actually met a girl I dated when I first hung out with you. So in a happy relationship, I can't go out with you anymore. The girls would be too much for me. So
Good answer.
I
Good
got to keep
answer.
you away.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Follow up though, who got the drunkest?
Me?
I would
Okay.
vote. I would vote Mikey.
All right. I
I
saw.
was I
Listen,
was in there. I think I flew at a good cruising altitude all night. I was pretty proud of myself.
I was home by like midnight, I think.
I got
What?
to
No,
watch.
you
I got to
weren't.
watch. No, you were not.
Mitch, you said you left before midnight.
No, I left at 2.
Oh, your text saying like get home safe was I thought at midnight.
I swear I sent that at
No, he
And
said that at like 11:45 after I left because I had to go back to New Jersey and take care of my mother who was post-op.
I think that was directed towards
I couldn't come
Tyler,
back
not
that shit.
necessarily.
Oh, okay. I assumed that's when I left.
I will say I have visual evidence of Mitch being on a hot streak too. Girl just came up to him and just started bumping and grinding on that famous goulet. So like
That's what a
It was
black
a
guy
it
does
was
for you.
was a very
Conversation
fun
starter.
spot. Was a very fun spot.
Wow, this really was a Sam's Army meetup. I
Look
love
at me.
this. We have to do this again sometime. Maybe
Several boroughs.
Wow,
multiple boroughs. Yeah.
Sam's Army bar crawl. All right, we're moving in the right direction. I like this. All right, let's head to headlines. We got a lot to talk about this first one. So MLS just drops, multiple bombs on us last week, including one on Friday, evening when you, try and, well, I don't know, fly under the radar, but one, just a typical news drop when nobody was expecting it. The first one was, in my opinion, sort of the bigger one though. So the two are basically MLS decided, I'm going to let Tyler sort of rephrase this in a way that actually makes more sense, but MLS basically decided that they are, in this world where the actually eyeballs are on the league, they got billionaire owners, like they're ready to take the next step in everybody's eyes. They decided, nope, we're not going to change the roster rules this winter. I think that was huge disappointment to a lot of people. Then there was on Friday, the Friday night news dump was the decision that the first teams of MLS will no longer play in US Open Cup. So MLS next teams or next pro, I think will play in their stead. Possible, I don't know if it's really a death sentence to US Open Cup. I'm sure we'll probably discuss that going on here. But Tyler, to you first. Let's talk about the roster rules. Was that overly broad? Did I boil it down too far, or is that about right?
No, it's about right. There were no changes that are worthy of any explanation. Couple of things here and there with like increase of like, I think it's TAM or something along those lines, but I'm not going to bore you with the details because they really don't matter. Then there were no significant changes. Like the concept of a fourth DP was floated at some point in time, but not by reputable sources, and it never really was discussed apparently by the Board of Governors. So that's number one. Number two is that just overall feelings on the whole thing. Like I think everybody was expecting the changes because we're living in this messy world at the moment, and you were figuring like, okay, we want to capitalize on this as much as we can. I can also see how if I'm an MLS owner, especially of a team that is being propped up, maybe not propped up is the right word, but benefiting from some of these other teams making a lot of money at being a single entity league, knowing where I stand in terms of like knowing how much money I'm either going to A, make or B, lose. Why would you want to change anything? Like unfortunately, this is a business at the end of the day. And I think that these decisions that have been made, both US Open Cup and the roster rule changes, like are in an effort to sort of ride the high of having a good thing. I think that this can sort of be equated to like walking away from the blackjack table while you're up a few $100 as opposed to like doubling down and, staying on the table and potentially, fucking up a good night. So like I'm disappointed for a multitude of reasons. I think I want to see the growth as quickly as possible ahead of 2026, but I can understand how the owners at the same time are sort of like, do we really want to potentially roll the dice so close to the World Cup, or do we want to keep this good thing that we have rolling right now and then capitalize post 2026? So, or give sporting directors and general managers more lead up time if you are going to drastically change the roster rules. Because can you imagine if they had put a $25 million hard salary cap in, eliminated TAM, eliminated GAM, and added a fourth DP spot? It would be fucking balls to the wall reckless in the January transfer window. You can't just implement that and change the whole landscape of how Major League Soccer operates within the transfer windows. So maybe this is something that is cooking right now and is going to be implemented for 2025. But yeah, definitely a lot of big news that a lot of fans are upset with, and I can understand why, but I think that there's nuance to be had in this conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure that there is sort of some perfectly logical explanations. And actually you made some pretty good points there in terms of why, MLS might be sort of slow playing it. But I think fans, like, we just feel like the league is completely pussyfooting it. And like, there's a time to, like, we've been through this. We've been going on with MLS for 20, however many years now, 25 years, etc. And, the league is a lot different now, in a lot different place than it was 20 years ago. It's a lot different than it was 10 years ago. It's probably a lot different than it was 5 years ago. And so it feels like, and that's not just Messi, right? Messi is obviously something that they need to leverage, and they see it as maybe a short-term thing. And this is their long-term planning, is that we're not going to get over our skis by, just completely, taking the brakes off right now. I mean, I think that there is a middle ground to be had, and it really feels like they're sort of not taking advantage of a good time to at least do something. I don't know, Mikey, what were your thoughts when you heard all this?
Nothing new to what you guys have basically covered. I don't have a ton to add on it, to be honest with you.
All right. Mitch?
Yeah, you guys covered it pretty well.
All right. Well, then
the one thing I will say, and if you're listening out there and you support an MLS club or a USL Championship club, if the outrage, if 3/4 or half of the outrage that we saw on social media matched up with attendance for US Open Cup, I think that it wouldn't have gone down that way. I've been calling US Open Cup since 2017. I love the competition more than anything in US soccer. It's sort of how I cut my teeth. I got some really big moments in US Open Cup. Like, I love the tournament. But I've also called dozens of games in empty MLS stadiums where teams don't care until the semifinals, where, coaches aren't putting out a real roster until the 4th or 5th round anyway. So, like, I think that the two things that they announced go hand in hand, not changing the roster rules and the US Open Cup and withdrawing from the Open Cup, because players have been complaining about congestion. And the biggest reason for congestion and why the players don't feel the necessary rest is because just such a big drop off in the rosters when you start to rotate players and change them midweek. Now, fans were hoping that the solution to that was going to be, well, let's open up the roster and let's loosen up the purse strings a little bit. But if you're not going to do that, then you have to change something else. Otherwise, the MLSPA is going to come down your throat anyway. And so this was the decision that they decided to make. And it's for the short term, hopefully. Hopefully there's going to be a solution down the line where... What are you giggling at, Mikey?
Nothing. You said come down your throat.
I did.
I didn't catch that one either. Now listen,
any point that I just made or any train of thought is completely gone. So
I love it. Non sequitur. Well, basically, the thing is that, part of the reason that this fixture congestion is as bad as it is now is because the league just added a whole new competition in the middle of the season, in League's Cup. So, basically what it seems like is they've basically decided, we're going to take League's Cup and move forward with that. And we're going to drop US Open Cup and all the tradition that goes along with the oldest, cup competition in the country. And they're just kind of, yeah, we're done with that now. And it plays into all the stereotypes and the criticisms, frankly, of MLS, from not just, the promotion relegation hardos who just hate MLS and probably don't even like soccer. They just want to argue about, promotion and relegation online. But like, this is like a thing for fans of MLS, like, it's kind of like, it feels a little like, I know they got to run a business, right? The US is all about the capitalism, all about the mighty dollar and all that. But it does feel like, something is slightly hollow, slightly inauthentic about MLS, where, if you're dropping US Open Cup for this just newfangled Leagues Cup, which is all about making money, I mean, like, that is just going to put fire, not thermonuclear gas, but it's definitely going to put some fire, gas on a fire. I don't know. I do not. So we talked about the roster rules. What about US Open Cup? Do you think that is this dead? Are we basically like is MLS killing US Open Cup by this?
I mean, if this is hopefully maybe for 1 year, whatever. No, I think that this might just be a 1-year thing, or we still haven't seen anything from MLSPA. So I'm curious to see what their response is going to be. I don't think it's killed US Open Cup. No.
I hope not. I certainly would. And if it was sort of this, a couple year gap where we sort of muddled through with US Next Pro or MLS Next Pro, and maybe a USL C team end up going to CONCACAF Champions League, I mean, that'd be pretty fucking cool right there. So maybe there's some silver linings. I don't know. It does, as a fan of MLS though, or as somebody who wants to see it succeed, and somebody wants to see USL succeed, like, I don't know. This was a disappointing week. And I'm not saying this is a silver lining, but there were some other small little rule tweaks that, went completely under the radar, as well they should, because they really weren't as big of news as, like, getting out of US Open Cup and then the non-changes to rosters. But there was some changes to the way that time wasting, which I think got like almost no publicity at all, which I thought were awesome. And like, I'm a huge fan of this. I was talking to somebody else in MLS, and he was like, yeah, I mean, EPL is probably going to, implement these within a year or two as well. Do you off the top of your head, Mitch or Tyler, remember exactly what these changes were?
Yes. So VAR reviews are going to be announced over the stadium intercom, like they are in NFL games when referee said 50-yard penalty, automatic first down. The player that needs medical attention to come onto the field must remain off the field for 2 minutes. That's one of them. That basically, if you require assistance, then you're gonna need to sit out for at least 2 minutes. And then the other one escapes me right now. But I was a big fan of the VAR decisions being announced with a loudspeaker.
How that hasn't been a thing already is beyond me. But I love those changes. Like, those are great. Like, it's small, incremental, moving in the right direction, probably ahead of the curve. But man,
I got one more.
Oh yeah.
Players that are substituted have 10 seconds to get off the field. That seems very quick. Like, that seems real quick compared to
no, it doesn't, because you can leave, you can exit at any point in the field.
Right.
But are you going to, if you're up 2-1 and it's the 85th minute?
No, but now you have to, which I love. I love that. I mean, there's no reason why we got to go through this charade of everybody being like, could you pick it up a little bit? And the ref being like, could you pick it up a little bit? And then the guy moving his arms a little faster, but still walking off the fucking field. I hated that. It was really annoying, and just get rid of it. I love that. I love these little tweaks. I'm not such a big fan of the fact that MLS, put their head in the sand and said, we're not going to change anything basically on the roster rules. That was disappointing. All right, moving on. Quickly on some of these other ones. So men's and women's national team player of the year nominees were announced this past week. Let's see. I'll give them to you real quick. On the women's side, it was Crystal Dunn, Emily Fox, Naomi Germa, Lindsay Horan, and Sophia Smith. And then on the men's side, we got Fuller and Balogun, Yunus Musa, Ricardo Pepi, Christian Pulisic, and our own Maddie Turner. Mikey, who would you give your votes to?
Because
this is tougher than I think a lot of years.
Yeah, I think Balogun gets the men's.
Just for going with us?
Well, it did represent a big moment, and I think it is the defining moment of the year, I think, for the club or for the nation. And he obviously went for a big fee in the summer, so I think that's a fitting. I mean, it's done a lot for the state of U.S. soccer over the last year, and the women should potentially forego having a winner after their campaign at the World Cup.
Wow, that's harsh. I'd give it to Naomi Germa. Sophia Smith was sort of trending in the right direction, but then she got hurt and missed most of the year. So I'd give it to Germa myself.
No Trinity Rodman in that short list is weird, though. No,
it was interesting. Yeah, that was an interesting. Just couldn't even make the top 5, which is a little surprising. Okay, next up, FIFA revealed the details of the 2025 Club World Cup. That will be held in the US. And just sort of reading through it, I started to get, maybe for the first time, one thing about me, I'm very bad about looking ahead and sort of planning and putting myself in the situation and, anything like that. My wife has been complaining about this for a decade now. When I was reading the articles about the Club World Cup just like today, for the first time, I sort of got the sense like, wow, this could be really cool. I mean, because my first thought was like, holy shit, these teams and these players are going to have zero time off. Are they going to take this seriously and that sort of thing? But when you start thinking about it, this could be a really cool competition. So I don't know, Tyler, how big do you think that the Club World Cup will be at first, and how big do you think it could be eventually?
I don't know. Our English team's gonna pull out of FA Cup.
I don't think
look
so.
how many games you could potentially be adding.
I know, yeah.
And we already have like the most amount of season-ending injuries that we've ever had in the sport.
Yeah. I mean,
I heard somebody talking on the radio today about it. It was Tom Rennie, and he's a commentator over for BBC, and he does Sirius XM stuff. He was just like, it's going to get to the point where players are just going to go on strike or like do something to, basically say you can't just keep adding games across the board.
mm-hmm.
Why would Bayern want to just play against the Philadelphia Union on a random Wednesday in the middle of their season? When is it, during the summer?
Summer.
Right now. Oh, yeah.
No,
Sorry.
summer.
Yeah.
It is during the summer.
Yep.
Your preseason is going to start earlier.
Will they treat this as their preseason?
If you treat it like your preseason, then the tournament's not going to be very big, is it?
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to give the label of a tournament, you're going to give it the label Club World Cup. Those words carry weight. You can't have teams treating it like a preseason. People are going to, I mean, that's kind of half the reason that it's not really looked at with a ton of reverence right now, is because it's called the Club World Cup, but like, who competes in it? Who won it last year?
Well, right. It's obviously been a kind of a competition that, I don't know. Is it just Americans, since we never have an MLS club in it or a team in it, except for like last year when Seattle went for one game? Like
Bastian Schweinsteiger should have led the Chicago Fire to one, but that was a disappointment.
That wasn't
What
a
he was
Club
brought
World
there
Cup.
to do.
That was just a World Cup, period.
Yeah, that's my fault.
There's a big difference there. I don't know. We're at a point where, yeah, you make a great point on sort of fixture congestion and are these teams going to take it seriously and all that. If they do, if there's some way that they could, like, this competition it has the potential to be incredible, but I don't know how they get there. I don't know how we go from right here to there. I don't know. But it would, when I read about it, I was like, wow, this could be kind of cool. This could be kind of exciting, even though my first reaction back when FIFA first announced it was like, this is horseshit, this is money grab and all that, which part of my brain still thinks that and probably still will. But I also
kind of your default reaction to soccer news, though, isn't it?
Anytime FIFA's involved, yeah, immediately, first thought. All right. Quick one. So the Premier League voted to limit amortization of contracts to 5 years. We might as well call this like the Boehly rule. So all those contracts that he was given to Mudryk and Caicedo and whoever else, and basically can amortize the deal over the course of 7 or 8 years or whatever. They've limited that to 5. So Boehly's come in and he's already put his mark on the Premier League. Well done, sir. It sounds like he's kind of doing the same thing in MLB as well. So he's an innovator, if nothing else, if not a talent, an eye for talent. Finally, Miami and Messi are going to play I don't know what you call it, a winter friendly against Al Nassr and Ronaldo. Mikey, do you care?
Absolutely. That I certainly do care about. Just like, I want to see the social aspects of it. Are they gonna embrace it as what it obviously is, which is just a chance to see these two play against each other at some point? Or are they gonna both act too cool for it? Is Messi gonna like not acknowledge it? Is Ronaldo gonna go way too hard and start begging for it's the two greatest players I've had the chance to watch in my lifetime at 1,000 years old, and I watch a lot of testimonial matches on YouTube. Like, this is right up my fucking alley.
I didn't realize how far up your alley this.
I love watching former players past it compete.
Oh man, that is an interesting little niche you like to.
Oh, I seriously watch a lot of them and a lot of like 7v7 charity games and stuff all over YouTube. This is the thing.
Mitch,
This fits right in there.
you
They should play
agree?
7v7.
Yeah, yeah, they should. No, this, of course, everybody should care about this. I get that initial reaction is it's a money grab. They just set this up to have see Messi and Ronaldo play together. Yeah, no shit. Yes. Are people going to make money from this? Yeah, absolutely. Do we get to see the two greatest players to ever touch a football play against each other one last time? Also, yes. Are they going to, go shoulder to shoulder on the field? Probably not. But like the occasion alone is worth paying attention to and getting excited about. This is a fun game. This is the kind of flexibility in a schedule that you want from teams. Like this is just smart marketing all around. It'll be fun. I see no negatives to it.
I will not disagree with you on the marketing aspect, especially for MLS and Inter Miami. I mean, to raise their profile like that, that obviously makes a ton of sense. So 2 emphatic thumbs up from both Mikey and Mitchell. Tyler, are you giving?
I couldn't give a rat's ass about this.
I
could not care fucking less, and I know Mikey doesn't care. He's just saying that to say it.
I care.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Wait, why did you? Why do you think
he said it to rile me? Like I feel like he said it to rile me up.
No shot.
Oh, I love it. Well, I'm with you. I could not care less. I agree. That
Why?
I don't know. It doesn't feel.
I'm still upset at Ronaldo for not coming to MLS.
That might be a legal decision on his part.
That's his fault.
That's fair too.
Got nobody to blame but himself.
Yeah, does that absolve him of blame, Sam?
It does not. No, it does not. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I kind of get like I just get a little icky vibes from this game that is purely about marketing, which, at the end of the day.
Does it feel manufactured, like overly manufactured to you?
Yes.
Can you compartmentalize that and also appreciate the fact that this could be one of those like where were you events? Like when we all look back on the 2 careers that Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi have had, this is a chapter in them. This is the final chapter in them. And what are you not going to read the last chapter of that book? I know Sam doesn't read all that often, but that's at the very end of it where all the conclusion happens. Like you're going to get a couple iconic pictures. You're going to get 1 or 2 moments that fans are going to love. And yeah, it's a marketing ploy, but it's a good one. It's not like it's rooted in something very real. There's going to be a lot of fake shit around it, but it is rooted in the 2 greatest players to ever touch football.
That's fair. I mean, listen, I will watch it and I will be able to compartmentalize it. And I will, This is all about me not being able to sort of look into the future. I will watch it. I'll probably, enjoy aspects of it. Part of me will still feel kind of icky about it. And maybe I'm just mad because I know that ESPN FC and their Instagram is going to be nothing but that fucking game for like 3 days before and 3 days after. And maybe why am I following ESPN FC on Instagram? I guess that's
long blocked from me.
That's the real question here.
They're my goa this week, actually.
We'll get to that. Okay. We'll move on. Weekly what if time. So college football. We are in a brand new day, a brand new era for college football. As a lifelong Big Ten fan, who's talking with friends about going out to Oregon and going out to USC and shit like that. It is a brand new day in the landscape of college football. I actually saw that there has, and this is a shout out to Riley Johnson, who I was having a conversation with on Instagram and who suggested something, a question along these lines. Promotion and relegation has been suggested in some form for college football. And it in a way, it kind of makes sense. We're in this new world. The traditions are going out the window. The romance of it, like that's all gone. So maybe we'll institute something that is completely new and innovative, and perhaps we'll, if as according to a lot of people online who like to argue about it, promotion and relegation makes everything better. Maybe it'll make college football better. But the question is, if college football implemented some form of promotion and relegation, let's think about that world, that hypothetical universe. Is that the sort of the sneakily, the surest way, the best way for promotion and relegation to actually happen in the soccer world here in the US, Mikey?
I don't think it's ever going to hit the soccer world in the US. I think we've said on this show a bunch of times that it's something you start with, or something like you can't switch it up. It's going to take votes to change structure, and the votes are not going to come. So I think no matter what happens, I think college football makes sense. I think certain stakes are lower when it comes to that kind of stuff in terms of the financial impact it'll have on these foundations. But yeah, I'm of the belief that in my lifetime there will never be relegation in the soccer world in this country.
Okay, Mitchell, agree or disagree?
Kind of halfway between. I think that the outcry right now and the ideation around promotion relegation in college football is a direct result of how old the college football committee is and how seemingly like out of touch the entire system is. And I don't know if people are just starting to realize that, or if it's just an annual thing that people get upset about, but it's gained, to me, more and more traction over the past 2 years. And I think that's why it's being discussed. I think for promotion relegation to come to American soccer, there needs to be something of similar magnitude. And so like something needs to happen. We can't just create this massive organizational switch for no reason, essentially. Like it's not going to be preemptive. It's going to be reactionary. And for that, I think something needs to occur. And I don't see anything like that occurring in the near future.
I mean, it seems like if there's ever going to be some form of promotion relegation, it seems like it's going to have to be USL, and them thinking, okay, well, you know what, this is the only way that we're going to be able to potentially compete with MLS. And so, you know, there's been the rumblings several different times. I don't know how serious, whether this is kind of like the rumblings of like the fourth BP that apparently was never even really talked about. Tyler, let's get your thoughts on that though. Is this the best way for promotion and relegation to make its way into soccer here in the US, or do you just not see that happening?
No, MLS is already, for a multitude of different reasons, its own entity comparatively to the rest of the major sports in this country. So nothing that anybody else does is going to influence their decisions, because what the original owners from the league and what the now owners from the league had to endure, whether it be creating a single entity league and trying to prop it up and make sure that it survived longer than 5 years, or the owners now who had to pay a $400 million expansion fee. Like, I just don't. I would like to be more optimistic than Mikey and say that we are going to see promotion relegation at some point during our lifetime. Mitch and I were talking about this today, but like, I don't think that it'll have any impact on what MLS will do.
All right. Well, I figured it'd be worth discussing anyway. I thought it was an interesting topic. Let's move on. Premier League time. So, oops, sorry, that's my Instagram. So Premier League. Let's see, who would not be Mitchell. I feel like I haven't called on you on this one of these things. So first question, obviously the one I've been asking you guys week in and week out. Which game did you find most interesting, and why?
City dropping points.
City ain't City.
I said this 2 weeks ago now. City concede goals. And they are without their best creator, and they look like it. This result was not, I mean, I'm a little biased in saying this, but it was awesome to see. Nobody thought Palace was going to go in and upset City at home. And when I say upset, I do mean last minute draw. But like, City just don't look like they have the teeth like they do this year. De Bruyne's back in training as of today, Monday, but we'll see how big this hole is and if they can dig themselves out.
Yeah, I mean, like that game, I think that I'm not the only person in this world. I don't think I'm the only one on this podcast who turned the game off when City went up 2-0. I was just like, well, okay, there goes that game.
literally switched to the Fulham game once it was 2-0. I was like, this is over.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even check the scores, until like, after the game. And I was like, what the hell just happened. Palace away, getting 2 late goals to draw with City. That is not City of old. Somebody said it. We've been talking about it for a couple weeks now. City's not City. I mean, it does.
Don't speak this into existence again. They do this.
I'm not trying to reverse jinx it. It really feels like this is a different City, and like maybe it's time for somebody else to win. I mean, it is time for somebody else. It'd be great for somebody else to win, just not Arsenal. And ideally not Liverpool, but better Liverpool than Arsenal. But yeah, City is just ain't City. And I think Rodri was back for this game. So it's not like they didn't have anybody. And De Bruyne is coming back. I don't know. We'll see. Tyler, what game stood out to you?
You want to be an asshole? Be an asshole.
It's just a question. It's an interesting question.
I think you can ask it in a much more pointed way. How embarrassing were United fans at the final whistle of that game yesterday, celebrating I guess it's a moment for their club to not concede, but what has happened to the once great club, begging the final whistle to blow against you? I bet Salah anytime at halftime. I was sure that the one was coming, and I really don't like that Manchester United side. It's just filled with twats. They're
all twats.
Every one of them.
And their so-called pundits now who used to play for them are also twats. Roy Keane.
What's he going on about?
What is he going on about? What is Gary Neville going on about, saying that the atmosphere was piss poor at Anfield? What are you saying? The atmosphere was there the entire time. Don't ever think for a second that Anfield is going to sound a shred of like the empty had for a Liverpool Manchester United.
Fair.
Fucking blasphemy, what everybody was saying. I've heard so much garbage, and I've consumed all of it. And I feel like garbage afterwards for consuming all of it about this fucking game.
I think we've gotten to the root of your constipation here.
Consternation.
That was quote unquote baked into the equation already. But no, and for all of you trolls who are DMing Sam, I have Instagram. Come see me. Yes, I want the followers for my own clout, but like I don't know why you're DMing him. If you've got something to say about me, at least the one thing I can say about that one fucking Liverpool fan who always tweets at me, says I don't know ball after he listens to the podcast, at least he ats me. The rest of you are saying that I'm not going to be on the pod because I'm going to be at some pop-up Billy Joel concert that doesn't exist.
I might have added the Billy Joel part myself.
I'll agree to like 3% of what Roy Keane was saying, that there was a bit of arrogance. And how could you blame Liverpool with a quarterfinal coming up and Arsenal over the weekend, how they might have been overlooking Manchester United just a little bit, and with some fixture congestion, with McAllister being injured, Andy Robertson still battling to get back to full fitness. Yes, we looked a little bit less ruthless than we usually do against Manchester United, who fucking sat in during a Liverpool. And I know that they didn't want the same thing to happen last time when they got fucking battered 7-0. And lo and behold, Ten Hag gets to keep his job, okay? Because he knew what the pattern was going into this game, that every manager previously for Manchester United who went up against Liverpool when they were already on the hot seat and got their fucking doors blown off was out of a job the following morning. Congrats, Ten Hag. You kept your job for another 24 hours, you miserable Dutch fuck. I mean, play the game. Play the game. You have nothing to lose. Zero.
He had his job to lose.
What I will... No, he has not... What, you think he's going to be around when Sir Jim Ratcliffe takes over? Like, you think he's going to be around next summer? This guy's fucking gone. He's a dead man walking. And I'll say another thing, and this is more so about Liverpool. The moment that Jurgen recognized that this is all going to happen, I would have subbed Darwin off at the 30th minute and put Gakpo on. We needed somebody who could actually hold up the ball and was good in tight spaces. Darwin's ability to do anything in this game productive was negated as soon as United decided to fucking sit their stinky ass balls inside of the 18 for the entirety of the game.
10 passes.
And I'm not a stranger to the concept that we played like dog shit in the attacking third, because I was telling this to Mitch today too. It wasn't even the final ball and the finishing. It was the ball leading to the final ball. It was the decision making, which is poor. And decision making, if you're not on your day, especially for a club like Liverpool, comes down to concentration and whether or not you were ready to go out there and execute and you were ready to be a professional football on their day. So yeah, maybe they were overlooking them and there was a bit of arrogance. But fuck me. Manchester United have come a long way. You guys look like Burnley. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
You know, I have really one interesting stat I saw after the game was the XG of that game versus the XG of the 7-0 game from last season. So the XG last season was 2.78 for Liverpool versus 0.82 for Manchester United. Keep in mind that game finished 7-0. Then this game finished 0-0. XG was 2.35 for Liverpool versus 0.63 for Manchester United. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Only, you know, one ended 0-0 and one ended 7-0, which I don't know what the hell you can take from that other than maybe XG is a little imperfect.
I'm certainly not. I'm certainly not taking that Onana as the key factor here. That's what I'm not taking away
His
from that.
distribution was sensational. This man, one after another, was just pinging balls out of play. Like, it was, honestly, it was ridiculous to watch.
How about that move? I think it was on Darwin where he pulled it behind him and Darwin just went running right past. I mean, like, that could have been, you know, in terms of like people on the hot seat, obviously Ten Hag is there. I mean, Onana has got to be right there as well. If he had just gotten sort of, you know, given up a really easy one to Darwin Nunez in that game, in that situation, I don't know if you can come back for that. All right. Tyler's gotten some angst off his chest there from a 0-0 game against United. And to be fair, like United, they really did not try. They were out there to get a 0-0.
No, they did try. They tried to get a draw and they got one. Good for them.
Yeah. So they succeeded.
Yeah.
They succeeded.
And if I had that collection of dog shit, I too would also line up the same way.
Oh, very, very angry. Very angry Tyler. We like that angry Tyler. Okay. I've asked Mitchell, I've asked Tyler. Mikey, what result from the weekend?
Two things.
Okay.
Two things. One, I don't think you can look too deeply into the Arsenal win. I remember back in the day when we played on Thursdays. No, Brighton's a good side and they were dominated. Like, it was a real front foot performance from start to finish. But what I want to say about that is for the last 6 years, Mitch and I have watched teams play on Thursdays and then on Sundays. And it is a different fatigue. These guys have been playing a lot of games and a lot of games that really matter late in the Europa stage, which is not something you want to put yourself in a position to be. And this was a calendar win. So happy that everybody played well. Havertz obviously seems to be in a groove, but this isn't an indicator of tempo as much as a lot of people are reading into it ahead of next weekend. I don't feel, put it this way, I don't feel better or worse about the trip to Anfield based on the Brighton result. I think it had a lot to do with their fatigue. So want that to be my takeaway from that. The other one is I'm officially 100%, 1000% ready to declare Aston Villa as persona non grata for us after Spurs this season. That is an infuriating team to watch. A lot of shithousery. Something about the Emmy storyline is still pissing me off. It is. I watched that game, and if you haven't checked out the highlights from that, do so. Crazy game. They're entertaining, and I know Larry's been betting both teams to score and Villa to win, and he's been making $1 bajillion on it the last like 10 weeks of the year. But they are for sure my new hate watch. And they're now appointment television. I do not like Aston Villa at all.
It was a fun game. It always is. You're right. Aston Villa is a fun game, a fun team to watch. There were all sorts of, you know, yellow cards, upgraded to red cards, red card late, I think, to Aston Villa. I mean, the one thing that I came away with from that game with was the Emi Martinez versus Neil Maupay situation, which is like, if you
just talk about two guys I both want to lose.
This is like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. Like, you got the two biggest shithousers in the league, without doubt, coming together, and they did not disappoint. I mean, like the shit they pulled on each other, and it was back and forth.
So embarrassing.
If it was in a vacuum and if it was basically any other players, I would have been like, that is truly embarrassing and they should probably be ashamed of themselves. But if it's Martinez and Malpe, I'm like, yes, give me more. Give me more of that.
They
I
almost
just
have
loved it.
reputations to uphold by doing all that. We need that from them. The game demands that from them.
We're going to get an update each week. I'm going to watch everything from now on, and I better watch them drop down this table, because if they linger too long, I'm going to be really concerned.
Someone's going to figure out that high line of theirs. They've been playing real loose and fast in the back, and it worked against us. It worked beautifully. They got their goal, and then they kind of defended, but they attacked as well. I can't say they just sat in. But that high line of theirs is risky. Emery has them cooking though. I'm scared of
them.
And
the schedule's not that hard for them. Yeah.
They got nothing much coming up.
No, hosting Sheffield next week. So we're gonna have to hear about this for another 10 days.
And then United, Burnley away. Yeah.
Burnley.
They're gonna be around at the new year. They'll be around at the turn.
Well, so you're talking about how, Aston Villa, if they stick around, you're going to continue to hate watching them. Are you, Mikey, are you concerned that they will be around, or you think that they're going to fade?
I'm a little bit worried about Emery's ability to string together a lot of results consecutively, and where that might put them with a down year for City.
Wow, not just Arsenal. You're talking like Villa over City.
I don't want them to be around any longer.
Okay. I got bad news. I think they're sticking around for a while.
Me too.
Tottenham got the win at Forest. Basuma, that guy's got to get
moron.
He's got to get his head.
Absolute idiot. I love watching him play.
The fuck is he doing? Is that 3 matches? That's 4 matches, right? Because it's the second one.
4, because it's the second one.
God.
I mean, and then he's going off to the African Cup of Nations. So, like, I don't know when the next time he's going to play for Tottenham is, but like, he is good. I really like him when he's out there, but unfortunately, he's not out there very much. And when he is out there, there's a distinct possibility that he's going to be, gone by the 47th minute, or I guess this was 70th minute. But man, that was the stupidest red card. And I saw a lot of Tottenham fans arguing about it, like, there's this that somebody did on Arsenal and this somebody did on City. How is this red? I mean, it's a fucking red card. He caught him like basically with his knee for absolutely no reason. Just stupidity. I was happy that Tottenham got the win. It was bittersweet, given the second goal that we scored, which it was kind of a tough back pass to Turner. Turner made a bad clear, and then I'm sure he'd be the first to tell you he should have saved the shot too. So it is like definite worst case scenario in terms of how we got the win, but we got the win, so that's good. And hopefully hopefully Turner bounces back because he's our boy. Any other results from the weekend? I mean, there's one thing, like Everton. We got to talk about Everton. Like, we talked about it quickly last week, but like, they just keep winning. They beat Burnley, they beat Chelsea, they beat Newcastle, they beat Forest, they lost to United. That's a weird one. They beat Palace, they drew with Brighton. They beat West Ham, lost Liverpool. I don't know. This Everton team is just incredible in terms of like, is this just them reverting to the mean? Should they have been this good sort of all along, maybe? And they're just figuring things out because, they have some talent on the team. They've just been awful. And Sean Dyche has them flying, and it seems like it was that 10-point deduction that got him, got things cooking. I don't know. I'm just impressed by Everton right now.
Little adversity lights a fire under your ass, especially team-wide adversity in the clubhouse. There's nothing that brings a team together like a knock. I can absolutely see that motivating an entire football club to perform at a higher level.
And they're a club that probably have had, there's been discord between the fan base and the ownership, and the players getting caught in the middle. So yeah, maybe this is what they needed to bring it all together and finish in a nice quiet 14th place for once. Quickly, power rankings, and the way we're going to do this now is we're just going to have one person give their power rankings, and then we're gonna shit all over you. Mitch, you're gonna be the sacrificial lamb this week. Who you got? I don't even think we have to do bottom three. Like, I just think it's pretty much locked in until further notice. But top four, give us your top four on a neutral field right now.
It's going to be the Arsenal at number one. It's going to be Manchester City at number two, Liverpool at number three, Aston Villa at four.
I'm gonna let Tyler add some thoughts, especially after you said the Arsenal.
Liverpool 1, Arsenal 2, City 3, Villa 4.
You're saying this after you've just drawn 0-0 to United.
And City.
And you guys have had a perfect season so far?
Nope.
No, haven't said that.
Okay, this is a proper fucking title race, mate. We're better than you on the day on a neutral site. I promise you that.
Okay, mate.
I promise you.
If only your two teams would play each other at some point.
If there was some way to figure this out, yeah.
That would
Not a neutral site. It ain't a neutral site.
I was wondering who was going to start the excuses. Who was going to start?
It's at Anfield. It's not an excuse. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Good point. Well, that's because I don't really have any huge arguments.
I agree with Tyler.
Okay.
I think Liverpool's a far better side, and they'll probably take care of us this Saturday.
Of course. I should have muted
Love that, Mikey. Really well done. I do want to echo what you said about the Brighton match, that we dominated them, but it was more to do with their schedule. Some key injuries from them too. Estupinian, Ansu Fati, like they're walking wounded. Isn't everybody now in the season? But I think we dominated because we were at home, we were rested, and I think we were the better team. But like, that Brighton side has proven that they're good. I still think we're better than Liverpool, though.
The arrogance from you two, okay, as Arsenal fans, having not won a Premier League in like since five different presidential people being in the Oval Office. Anyway,
that was good.
Yeah, no, I lost track of the words for a second. This is all to say that for you two fucksticks to be like, oh, we were so dominant this weekend, but we're not going to read too much into it. Like, that's a level of bullshit from the two of you that I just makes me regret going out with you and having a really good time on Saturday.
Well, that leads us to when do you guys play? Probably Sunday, I'm assuming.
Saturday.
No, Saturday. Oh,
in the prime time too. Those people are going to be so drunk over there.
So drunk. I'm going to be so
I can't
drunk.
believe they put that game that late.
11:30 a.m. Central Time, but I don't think that's what you're talking about late.
I don't.
But yeah, it is the primo game on Saturday. I guess, it wouldn't make sense on Sunday since that's Christmas Eve. So Saturday, Liverpool hosting. I'm not throwing the in there. Liverpool hosting Arsenal. Okay, Mikey, I'll give you the first go at this because I kind of assume where you're going to head. And if I got to mute you, I'll mute you real quick. What do you think?
So I think back, obviously, last year's trip to Anfield, up 2-0, I thought we were winning the league. It's as good and as perfect as it could have started. Felt like a new chapter of whatever, and it still took a fucking miracle to get out of there with a point. I wish they killed United. I have a difficult time picturing a start to that game as good as that first half was. And I think it's going to be a lot tenser than it usually is between these two teams. I only think there's 1 or 2 goals in it. And I think, honest to God, if you offered me a point on the road at Anfield, I'd still take it. So that's what I'm going to go in thinking in my head. I'd like to get out of there with a point.
All right. You made it through there without me having to mute you. That means that your reverse jinx o-meter.
Well, I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan, you can't see guys that people in the league are shit talking, like Luis Diaz and even like a Diego Jota, like guys that the rest of the league can laugh at. We can't laugh when anybody's laughing at Liverpool because those guys fucking rip us apart whenever we see them. When I see the red in them on Saturday, I'm going to have no thoughts in my brain but the fact that we're underdogs still until it happens once. So it hasn't happened, so I'm not going to walk in there thinking we deserve anything.
But you're calling low scoring. regardless of
I think
how it goes.
I think it's really tense.
Okay. Tyler, we're going to you next.
Taking a look at Jurgen's post-game thoughts. Because if it was me, I probably would have I would lay into them a little bit more. He's seen, and who knows what he's doing behind closed doors, right? He said he was pleased with a lot of aspects, just obviously the finishing part wasn't there. He said it was the best start to a game they've had all season, which I agree with. We were fucking all over them. If you did a live bet of like an alternate spread, you probably would have gone Liverpool like -2.5 or -3 based off the first 10 minutes of that game. All over them. United couldn't get a sniff of anything. Form alone, I am mildly concerned about how well Arsenal did play, even though these two dumbwads don't want to take a deeper look into it. But I think that this team is young and inexperienced to the point where I think that they're also a little bit too smart for their own good, where like they know that that game against United was important, but that this is the one that could very well propel them and decide the season. And I think that they're kind of like, they knew that handling this midweek and then getting to Arsenal was the main objective in this 8-day stretch. So hopefully they can switch, they can flip the switch, but I don't know. I'm nervous, as I'm sure you can tell. But here we are.
Good. We've gotten angry Tyler and we've gotten nervous Tyler all on the same podcast.
You're getting everything that my therapist gets.
Mitchell? That's a lot of nervousness from both Tyler and Mikey. I guess that sort of reflects how big this game kind of is.
Yeah, I don't think either team's running away with it. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous as well. I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair than Mikey does. I think this game opens up after a little while. But like, I don't know, watching Liverpool on the weekend, like you guys dominated United. I make fun of the result, but like 20 something shots, 13 of them on target. Like you didn't give them space to breathe, and they were good chances as well. Watching how we've defended and how susceptible we are in spurts has me just as nervous as these two. I think we concede at least two, especially away. My hope is that we can get two and that our buildup is patient and organized enough to, create those chances. And I hope we have the quality to finish them because Liverpool can be stingy at home. We're not going to get a ton of chances. We got to take them when they come. We got to do well to create them. So I'd love for this game to end 2-2.
That was a lot of draw talk. I feel like. I mean, Tyler, were you kind of on that train as well?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What does this game do? Like if one of the teams were to come out and put a statement win out there, a 2-goal win, what would that say?
It's still too early.
Still too early. Okay.
Like, I think that a win would be really helpful for either team, but
a win means more to us than it does away at Anfield than it does to you, but it's still massive for either side.
Yes. But I will say, even if you guys win the game dealing with Champions League, I think you're still very vulnerable to drop points, as are we, just because of how young this team is and, it being a second iteration of a Jurgen Klopp special. So I'm with you.
All right. I mean,
which manager gets booked first?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's Arteta. I was gonna say Arteta's got to be the odds-on favorite there.
Spades.
He's still persona non grata for PGMOL, I think. Any other games this weekend? Tottenham Everton stood out to me. Like, I'm sure we'll lose that game. Everton's too hot, and we've picked up a lot. Well, we haven't picked up a lot of points, but we have picked up a fair number of points in a stretch where I was very nervous. So I could see us dropping points there. Another game, West Ham hosting Manchester United. So that is the, I think, 7th and 8th place team. Yep, Manchester United's in 7th.
Ugh.
West Ham are going to put up a number.
I can't think of a game I'd want to watch less in my whole life.
West Ham will put up a number on them.
I like that call. I was thinking about making him my over bet for the week.
It's really smart.
Now that you said it, I'm still not doing it, but
they're hanging by a thread.
I like that call. Okay. Listen, there's other games, a lot of games that I'll be interested in. Manchester City, see if they can bounce back. I mean, I still can't believe I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that City is not City. They're just not City this season.
Stop.
Would you let me ask you this, Mikey? Would you take City or the field right now?
City.
I asked the wrong person. Tyler, would you take? That's the wrong person too. Tyler, would you take City or the field?
When's De Bruyne coming back?
Soon.
He's training today.
Sounds like he's training.
I saw that, but like, when's he actually back?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably mid-January.
How many points off are they right now?
4, 5.
Probably take City.
I know. It wasn't. We were up 6 with like 3 weeks left last year.
There's and when he comes back, he's going to want to torch the earth.
He's going right into my FPL team. I'll tell you that much.
Mitchell, City or field, win the title.
I'm obligated to take the field to be contrarian, but like Kevin De Bruyne is Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not saying that he's the savior that is gonna put City on his back, but like if there's one player in the league that can do that, it's that ginger ninja. I'll take the field.
Yeah.
But you're saying that to be contrarian. It sounded like all four of us.
Yes, but also like, I've been on an Arsenal title wave since the beginning of this season and well into last season as well. I still believe in us. I just know the monster that Manchester City is.
Yeah. We're all having trouble here wrapping our head around City not being City. We can talk about City not being City, but at the end of the day, we all still kind of think City's going to end up being City.
Again, their goal scoring is not their problem. They concede. They concede 2 goals to Palace late. Like that, I don't know if you can chalk that up to a discipline thing or tired legs or silly penalties at the end of a game from Foden. Like the end game, or like the end thought from me is that they are conceding too many goals, which has never been City's problem, and it is now. So does De Bruyne sharpen that up a little bit? Who knows?
Pal, all I know is that Palace came into that game scoring less than a goal a game, and they scored 2 goals when they needed them away to City, which is just a strange scenario. Okay, let's go quickly through round the world. So Champions League round of 16 matchups dropped early this morning. And there's some interesting ones, of course. I'll just go through them real quick. Porto, Arsenal, Napoli, Barcelona, PSG, Real Sociedad, Inter Milan and Atletico Madrid, PSV, Dortmund. That of course is the America Cup with 3 Americans on PSV and Claudio Reyna's son, Gio Reyna, on Dortmund, at least for the time being. I guess we'll see if he's still there come January. Lazio and Bayern, Copenhagen and Man City. The money is flowing there. And RB Leipzig and Real Madrid. Tyler, what as the independent, neutral, unbiased third party person here?
What about you?
Yeah, I'll add my 2 cents too. But you go first. Which matchup are you sort of most interested in?
They all suck.
Not mad or anything. Not mad.
No, it has nothing to do with being mad. Just change up. I mean, like I know we're changing the format, but
you're ready to change it. You're ready to be done. Aren't we going back to this sort of knockouts after we do the weird group stage though?
Are you getting seated the same way? That's the thing.
That's a good question.
It's a boring job.
I understand that winning your group should give you some incentive, but maybe just hosting the second leg. Some good matchups in the round of 16. Let a smaller club have an opportunity to play against another smaller club. I don't know. I just don't. These all stink.
They stink in the sense that there's a clear favorite pretty much in all of them, which,
Yeah, and like there might be an upset, but I don't know. This just didn't really catch my eye. But then again, this year's edition of Champions League hasn't really caught my eye for an obvious reason. So
that's fair. That's fair. Mitch, what'd you think of your matchup with Porto? Could have been worse.
Could have been worse, yeah. Don't love playing a Portuguese team in Europe, but Porto have not been the best team out of Portugal this season. They get scored on as well. They like playing an open game. That one seems fun, but I'm really looking forward to PSV Borussia Dortmund. That's gonna be a fun, good old American game.
A lot of good wingers in that game. Lots.
It'll be interesting to see. It sounds like the rumor mill is really getting, cranked up in Reina moving on from Dortmund. So I guess that'll be interesting to see. If he's still there, though, it's great that we'll have an American in the next round, regardless. Yeah, let's keep it moving. We'll keep it trucking here. So I actually forgot to say this last week. My apologies, but Santos. We were talking about the Brazilian league, and I'm just blaming Mikey for not being on for, not bringing it up. But the Brazilian league was pretty brilliant coming down the stretch. And obviously the title race we talked about several times. But the Santos getting relegated on the final day, and I think they got jumped by two different teams in the process. They lost a game on the final day and two teams won and jumped them. I mean, Santos is a huge, huge club. That's the team of, Neymar, the team of Pele. They had never been relegated, I believe, in their history. They're one of the few teams left that could say that. Wow. I mean, how the mighty have fallen, I guess. Mikey, as our resident South American expert, any additional color you want to add to
that? No, I think, all great empires fall, Sam.
Fair enough. That they do. All right. Not an empire, but Girona. Quickly, we haven't really talked about how Girona is making moves and just being consistent. Today, they beat somebody 3-0. I don't know who it was, but I know I had the over. So happy me. They beat Barcelona on the road. I know it wasn't at Camp Nou last week, but they did beat Barcelona, on the road. I mean, this is a team they just keep on going. And right now they're up. How many points are they up? Let me see here. I had it all ready to go. And of course I closed out of the app like a dumbass. Okay, so they're in first with 44 points. They're up 2 points on Real Madrid, up 9 points on third place Barcelona. Wow. Girona, are they contenders? Do you think that Girona could win the La Liga this year, Mitch?
Yeah, absolutely. They're not competing in Europe. And I've watched them play a couple times because I'm like, all right, well, if this team is top in La Liga, I might as well pay attention to them and also bet on them. They're fun. They look good. I have not watched them play against like a Real Madrid or a Barcelona yet. I've only watched them play like kind of lower half of the table teams. But yeah, Barcelona do not look like the Barcelona of old. Real Madrid are still good. Real Madrid are going to give them a run for their money the entire season, and at the very end of it, win it all. But Girona are definitely title contenders.
And so for people who don't know, Girona is a part of the City Group. They're part of that satellite. But if you look at their roster and you look at their, wage bill, it's not like, they're getting
City-esque, right?
Right. They're not Man City-esque. I think I saw a stat where their entire wage bill is basically what Jude Bellingham is getting paid, in a week, which, they're still huge underdogs. I don't know if I would classify them as like a Leicester City, but man, they're up there, and it would be a hell of a run.
Pep's brother is on the board.
Is he at Girona? Did not know.
Makes a lot of the decisions and is responsible for the resurgence of the club. 2 years ago, around this time, they were on the bottom half of the second division of Spanish football.
Well, there's something to be said. I mean, they got the technical know-how and, scouting, I assume, and other stuff from the City Group. So it's not a total fairy tale, but it's still impressive. And it was Deportivo Alaves who they absolutely dominated today. Around the world. Oh, last thing, Barcelona's women's coach, Barcelona Femení, So their coach confirmed that he's leaving, and Barcelona has been just a dominant force lately. He's leaving Barcelona, and the rumor is that he's about to turn up in NWSL. I think who I saw was DC Spirit might be where he ends up. So I just in a vacuum, I'm sort of like putting that together with Emma Hayes coming over. I mean, I guess in a way, US, we're acknowledging that the world has caught up with us, if not past us, in women's soccer, and we got to throw some money at it because that's what we do with problems. And hopefully it works. So I hope he does come over here. I think NWSL does need to make some moves and keep up with the Joneses, the European Joneses, as it were. So hopefully we do add somebody like that. All right, stoppage time, boys and girls. We will start out with Ivan Toney's best bets, where the overtrain is not exactly cooking with gas. I don't know what the record was last week, but it was not great. I'd have to do the math. I think I went 3-2, which would put me at 33 and 51. Still, doing okay, but 3-2 on the week. That's not cooking with gas like we want to be cooking. Now, I don't want to steal your guys' picks though. So, do you want me to go first with the five-a-side overtrain, or you guys got picks you want to throw up?
Bang it out.
All right, I'll start it out. We will start out on Wednesday, of course, with Feyenoord and Utrecht in the KNVB Cup. That's the Netherlands version of the US Open Cup, which Eredivisie has not yet dropped like a bad habit, unlike MLS. On Thursday, we will go to Australia. Australia is, I think, by and large, maybe my favorite league to bet on. I've been getting cooked by the A-League this season. I don't know what's going on. It's like the normal teams that have been scoring bunches of goals are they've gone cold on me. But you know what? I'm still committed to it. So we're going Brisbane Roar and Central Coast Mariners on Thursday. That's in the A-League. Friday, going back to a old steady Cambuur in the Eerste second division of Netherlands. They visit Den Bosch on Friday, so that's my pick there. On Saturday, we're going to Belgium, Division A, where Eupen is hosting Union Saint-Gilloise. And that one is probably my favorite one of the weekend, or of the week, I should say. And then on Sunday, which is Christmas Eve, by the way, pickings are mighty slim. We're going to go to the Turkish Super League, which is back in action, I believe, now that we've all decided that we're going to no longer punch refs in the face on the field. I believe that's what's going on anyway. So we're going to go Turkish Super League. Fenerbahce is hosting Galatasaray, and they tend to score goals against each other. At least one team tends to score a lot of goals. Hopefully that's the case here. So Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, closing it up on Sunday. There it is. Five-a-side overtrain. Let's make the people rich. Who we got? You want to go, Mitchell?
Sure. I got 3 of them, all on Saturday, all in the Premier League. We're looking at both teams to score in Palace Brighton. Palace obviously proving that they can score, whether it's past the 85th minute or not. Villa at home to Sheffield. I like the first half money line there. When a team is so heavily favored, I can't really justify betting minus 460 on their money line. So I take their first half money line and just say, hey, they're probably going to score in the first half. They're at home. They want to get out and throw the first punch early against the weaker team. And then I like Newcastle money line away to Luton. You're at minus 150 for that, which feels low, but Luton have been playing better than a bottom 3 side lately. So who knows? You put them all together, you're at plus 360.
Plus 360. Nice little,
yeah.
stocking stuffer there. Okay.
Sure.
Mikey, who you got? Ivan Toney's best bet of the week.
Yeah. Julian Brandt's going to get an assist tomorrow against Mainz for Dortmund. I'm putting that with Luis Openda to score against Bremen. And we get a full slate of Bundesliga midweek. It's like you think I'm not going to do something with that, and then put those two with Florian Wirtz to score or assist on Wednesday, and I'll let you know how much that is in just a second.
I like it.
I like those 3 a lot.
I like the midweek Bundesliga.
I mean, I'm going to be playing all of it, so.
I've never messed around with the player props. I've always found them a little too volatile, but like, you love them, huh?
Mikey always.
That's all I play.
Mikey's always been doing that. I've never done it either. I've never messed with that. I feel like maybe
I'm a team guy, but
yeah,
we did hit some stuff on Saturday night while we were all betting together.
Oh yeah, you guys saw the full extent of my plays at night. We ended up at plus 300 that day.
Wow.
I played a lot.
Mikey pressed all of his winnings from earlier in the day when we were making bets later on. But I did throw in a real terrible Tyler parlay. It was a sickening parlay. We rooted for Jared Goff to throw at least 2 touchdowns on top of Amon-Ra St. Brown to scoring a touchdown. But then we also threw in Broncos on the money line. So we're rooting for at least 2 touchdowns to happen for the Lions, but also and if I had just stuck with Mikey on all the individual and the player bets, I would have been up on the night, but I just had to throw in some of the team stuff. So maybe
it was real sicko shit.
Maybe a lesson learned. Lesson learned there.
Speaking of, would you like to hear my bets for the
terrible Tyler's parlay? Hit us with it.
So it's just 2 legs, but it is rather dastardly. Over 2.5 goals for West Ham against Manchester United.
Okay.
Paired with a draw between Spurs and Everton.
I don't hate it.
It's about 5 to win 88 is what I already put the money down.
I love it. That is dastardly. That is dastardly. Mike, you gotta count for us.
It's about 5 to 1.
Okay, there we go. All right, let's close up on a high note here, boys. Everybody's favorite segment, Goas. I've obviously got about 15 of them written down here, per usual. So I'll let somebody else go first, and not take your shine. Mitchell, you wanna get us started off?
Yeah, you might as well put out a starting 11 every week. Jesus.
It's actually just 6,
I got two this week. Both of them are Instagram users. One for a good reason, one for a bad reason. The first one for a good reason is Luca Del Torre, who posted a picture of him playing alongside a delicious-looking dish of octopus, and the caption was in Spanish, "Octopus is back, bastards." I did not expect that when I saw it, when I hit see translation. Luca Del Torre is a good Instagram follow.
I saw that, and I didn't hit the translation, so I guess I didn't get the full extent of it. Okay.
I did not expect octopus is back, bastards. Love it. Is his nickname the Octopus now? Maybe.
Oh, did he just nickname himself? I love it if he did.
I don't know. Maybe he was probably referring to his dish. But if I started calling him the Octopus, I feel like I could catch it on. The next one is the admin for the aforementioned ESPN FC. Now, this admin, I think it's an ESPN policy that they don't look at or respond to comments, because you will never go into an ESPN post, whether it's on their main account, ESPN FC, college football account, whatever, and see them responding to post. They just don't do it. That's not something in their social team's playbook. But he probably should have, because he or they posted a caption, the shin pad size of Brighton's right back. Now, this may seem innocuous, but to not include, to have an entire post about a player and to not include that player's name is like social suicide. You can, if you're posting about a player, the least you can do is include their name, and they're just getting ripped for it in the comments, just obliterated. Mind you, the right back's shin size, or Hinglewood's shin size, was about this big, comically small. But ESPN FC's admin just didn't feel like he needed to mention his name, which I thought is a foul. Also, they deep fry and put a filter on every single picture they post. They will edit it in their own light, despite it being a professionally photographed picture. They will put their own weird, kind of darkish black and white sepia filter on it for no reason other than hey, we need to edit this. It's a really bad look. I don't like any of their social. I hope they hear this, and I hope to start new beef in the soccer social media world.
This particular complaint, you've you've harbored this for quite a while. I've heard that from you in the past. It's kind of like Mikey and his, loathing of NBC and their score bug or whatever. It's just something that you absolutely cannot stand. So ESPN FC admin, get your head in the game a little bit here. Pick up the slack a little bit. Okay, there we go. Tyler, what do you got for us?
I'm gonna go no goes.
No goes. Nobody deserves it.
Nobody impressed me. Nobody pissed me off.
You're just mad. The man is just mad.
Okay. No, I'm not mad. I'm indifferent.
This is what Liverpool has done. Apathy.
No, stop. That's what do you want me to just say? Emmy Martinez? Like, I don't know. Like what? I just don't. Well,
him and Mope.
I'm gonna keep it G. I didn't prep anything. Sue me.
All right. Keep it 100. Mikey, what do you got?
I'll save Tom Lockyer for you because I think you're going to go there, obviously. I like Matteo Guendouzi for the award this week. My favorite story of the year so far. Karabag striker Ibrahim Awaji on what Matteo Guendouzi said to him after he scored with his hand, a goal that was eventually chalked off. Guendouzi said, and here I'm quoting Karabag striker. Guendouzi said to me, "You are Muslim. If you don't tell the truth to the referee, God will punish you." And I think simply that is top from a total shitbag in Guendouzi. It epitomized everything Arteta didn't love about the guy. And for me, it is the quote of the year. Going up to somebody and being like, "I know you're Muslim. You need to be honest right now or else you'll be in a lot of trouble," is simply put, I needed a forum to be able to explain how great that was. And this is that.
That is definitely, I can see you just absolutely loving it.
Oh, I loved it. Oh, that was so good. So good.
Oh, Guendouzi. Who has he played for? Marseille? Who's he playing for these days?
Marseille.
Okay. That's a perfect place for him. Love that for him. My goes. I got several honorable mentions here. United's Red Army. So they put thank you notes to all the traveling Bayern fans who were in Manchester for the Champions League, the final Champions League group stage match this past week. They put thank you notes with, a pin and whatever else on every one of the, I think it was almost 5,000 seats, or I think that's right, 4,800. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 1,800. Either one. They put the notes and the pins on all of them and thanking them for essentially taking care of what they call Manchester Platz, which is the, monument in Munich for the air disaster, the Munich air disaster, when so many people, players and staff, lost their lives in, what year was it? 1962? I can't remember. It's blank. I'm blanking on it. But I thought that was a cool move by the Manchester United supporters group. Obviously, there's a lot of negativity surrounding the club for many different reasons. That was a pretty cool move by them. Also, honorable mention, Nahuel Guzman. So, typically I'm not in the business of giving goalkeepers much credit for pretty much anything, but this Nahuel Guzman guy, I've brought him up before. He's the Tigres goalkeeper in League MX. This guy is just an absolute character. He does just crazy stuff in the goal. He does crazy stuff on the field, off the field, like his hair. You can just look at him and know that he's a bit of a weirdo. He's got like this sort of mohawk. He just seems like an absolute character, which I can really appreciate. He got red carded in the Liga final on Sunday night, last night. He got red carded near the end of the game against Club America, and he, left the field, obviously. He went and hid under a tarp on the sideline and watched the rest of the game. And you could actually see him. They were taking pictures of him, the journalists and everything. Just it's Bobby Valentine-esque. Obviously, anybody who's like a Mets fan from back in the day, I'm sure Tyler, if he was listening, probably would appreciate that callback. Also, well, I had Emmy Martinez and Neil Maupay written down for obvious reasons. Just the fact that they, went at it the way they did. Just thank you for not leaving us hanging. All of us neutral fans that just wanted to see you guys shithouse, and you guys brought the pain. Shout out to Chris Donovan's agent. So Chris Donovan is, he's one of the sort of a young striker on Philadelphia Union. Somehow, his agent convinced Fabrizio to tweet out the fact that Chris Donovan had signed a contract extension. I don't know how he made that happen, but well done. I thought that was awesome. A lot of people were cooking MLS in the comments. Whatever, who cares? Fab's covering it. That means the league is relevant. And shout out to Chris Donovan for getting that tweet. Happy trails to Giorgio Chiellini. He announced his retirement within the last 24 hours. I loved him coming over to MLS and, playing his balls off. Obviously, he's no spring chicken anymore, but he was out there fighting his ass off from day one. So shout out to Giorgio Chiellini. Also, as Mikey teased, got to give a shout out to, I guess, Tom Lockyer, but also more importantly, the Luton Town and Bournemouth medical staff. I mean, this situation is, it's just sort of unfortunate, but he went down with a cardiac arrest in, whatever minute, 70 something minute against Bournemouth this weekend. And he was resuscitated. Apparently he's stable and, in hospital and doing okay. This is the second time this has happened in 6 months. So it happened 6 months ago, basically the same type of situation. I mean, I don't know how you can get back out there after 2 times in 6 months. Obviously it's sort of a life-changing thing, a career-changing thing. So good news is he's seemingly responsive and fine. The sad news is obviously who knows where he goes from here from a soccer perspective. But finally, my actual goal of the week goes to Diogo Dalot, because this man, getting 2 yellow cards in the 90 whateverth minute in the game against Liverpool is impressive. Number one, because he got it within 10 seconds. For anybody who wasn't watching the game, the ball went up the field. Manchester United was it was 0-0, obviously. Somebody kicked the ball. It was Mo Salah. So Mo Salah and Diogo Dalot were fighting for the ball. Mo Salah, it was clear, kicked it out of bounds. I mean, on replay anyway, it was very clear that Salah kicked it out. Dalot basically remonstrated, sort of did a very, over the top, like, you're Michael Oliver, you're an idiot type move. I don't know what he said. Oliver gave him a yellow card. Dalot continued, pulled a Serginho Dest, and basically continued to go after him a little bit. I mean, like, Dest was over the top. Dalot didn't look like it was that bad. He did keep yelling a little bit though, and he got a second yellow card. And number one, maybe that's a dumb move. I thought that was brilliant because now he's got Christmas off and now he can go hang out with the family. He doesn't have to play for Manchester United for a few days. It seems like a complete win on his part. I don't know if there's some thought process, some underlying thoughts that went into it, but it worked out well for him. So shout out to Diogo Dalot for that. And Michael Oliver, I mean, you got to have a little perspective, man. Come on. That's two in 10 seconds for not really that bad of an argument. That was too much. And there we go. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Mikey, Mitchell, Tyler, you guys are the best. I really do appreciate you so much. And we'll be back next week. I don't know when we're going to tape. I mean, it's Christmas on Monday. I don't know who I'm going to be able to rustle up on maybe Sunday. Maybe I'll try and get some of these guys on Sunday. I don't know. Or Monday night. I don't know. We'll see. But everybody, thank you for listening. And we'll see you then. Cheers.